and discussing what goes into solving a problem, so we can create a finalized backlog to complement our roadmap and present that to the investors of the world and the developers of the world and the users of the world and say, this is our ambition. This is where we're currently going. The show doesn't stop at the end of that road, but we want to be agile, even though I hate that word, and accept that everything changes all the time, so we're focusing on these problems. Anyways, I'm not getting a lot of other feedback on this, so my suggestion is going to be something along the lines of this. I just gave a whatever 20-minute speech, and I'm used to doing that every day, so there's nothing new, about how we can help each other produce a vision statement, essentially, for the community. If anybody feel like doing some web development or some PowerPoint work or some boring project management work in terms of creating issues and bringing in specialists like Ed or Matthew or Jonas or whatever to help figure out what work needs to go into solve what, please PM me so we can get you into Ops if you're not already part of Ops. And then we will have a closed door session at some point next week where we will start to work towards actually refining the workload that we have and distilling it into milestones and issues and so on, so we can work towards producing a roadmap. Other than that, I have nothing else to say, but I'm willing to answer questions if anybody has them.
I'd be very surprised there's no questions.
Cool. Well, then I guess that's that. Thank you all for your time, and I hope you all are enjoying your no one can speak. Fuck my life. Thank you, Crypto Caddy. I kind of forgot that. I thought people who got into this channel could actually speak.
Nope, shut that
off. What we can do is we can move to the stage, and then I'll bring people up to the stage. So I'll move to the stage, stay there for 15 minutes. If anybody needs to say something, come to the stage and talk with me.
Does that happen automatically, or do I need to go somewhere else?
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
I don't know. So I think they're going here.
What's up?
Here we go.
Brilliant.
I figured it out.
I don't know if anybody else is going to come up and speak, but I pretty much just wanted to back up your idea of getting a complete roadmap and just sort of laying everything out as best as we could, pretty much, and as plain Jane, so to speak, for the community as well, because
this is Happy Caddy speaking right now.
On a path of where they have some not so much a solid plan, but a roadmap, so to speak.
Yeah. I think it's important because at the end of the day, we are the builders of Terra Classic now, for better or worse. And we need to make ourselves attractive to new investors. And I mean, I think we can all sit around all day and pat each other's backs and love our community. But if we don't get structured and we don't get professional, the investors that we need are not.
Yeah. It's very important that we get the utility coming back in any form really that we can, as long as it doesn't hurt the coin or the brand, so to speak. I myself taking loads of steps. I'm going to be interviewing the Save the Moon coin. Yeah, it doesn't look too good. There's a lot of questions rather than answers that I got from all of their white paper bits, but at the same time, we do need to look at these projects, big or small, and look at the pros and cons, look to see if it ultimately ends up bad for us, in which case then we wouldn't really want to be pushing projects that could ultimately end up hurting the brand more than doing good, or the coin, so to speak. So I think it's really important that we do chase up as many projects as we can, put as many projects as we can in the light, but we also need to not lose that quality control, so to speak, because as things pick up, more and more people are going to want to jump on the bandwagon, so to speak, because the way it is, and you'll know this yourself, is that the human mind doesn't buy when it's red. It sees danger. It attempts to buy. It's called chasing green or running behind green. So you will see a lot of people pretty much either FOMOing in or just wanting to bring their project to such a successful community chain, because it being a community chain makes it fully decentralized, right?
Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, blockchains are all about network effect. I mean, we haven't settled on what's going to be the dominating blockchain technology yet. I know Bitcoin is the most expensive coin in the market, but technology is a very unforgiving master. It will always choose the better technology at the end of the day. So it's like a lot of people said, this is a marathon, not a sprint. And I think it's very important that we help people check, because some of us, like yourself and myself and other people in the operations group and dev group, we're used to working with these kind of things on a daily basis. But I think we have so much unlocked potential in our community if we can find a way to outline a modular strategy that will allow people to start dreaming about Terra Classic. Because at the end of the day, what drives people is hope, right? If we can produce hope and we can deliver on our milestones, then our network effect will grow and the value of our bags will essentially grow, right? And that is the challenge we have in front of us. And this is why I'm also constantly trying to tell people that, be inclusive. We need the big crumbs of the world, right? We might not understand them initially, but don't shun them just because they don't understand how to tell you things in a way that you understand. If we can embrace understanding people and helping them channel their creativity, we will become one of the first truly community-driven blockchain projects out there. Because all blockchain projects, and I've been in this business since 2015, are driven by what I essentially call the Bitcoin mafia. And I think what we're seeing with this bear market is significant collapses of fifth generation blockchains that will only survive if the ecosystems themselves build them up. And this is why I think we have a great challenge, but also a great opportunity in front of us, because we now have a blockchain, for better or worse, with 1 billion, trillion, million tokens. But it's essentially community owned as soon as we get delegation and staking enabled, because everybody can go in and buy a voting share that's larger than the current voting body for a few $1,000s almost. And that means that essentially we are the people's blockchain. And that means we need to be inclusive and we need to work in a way that allow people to basically mount their dreams onto what we're trying to do. And it's not an easy feat. We might not succeed, but the best we can hope for is to work together and structure things, be patient, and help each other understand.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and that goes back to the whole thing with burning not just being the core focus of anything to do with what is actually happening. It's really going to a lot be down to utility at the end of it all, because without that utility, without people on chain, right, you're just not going to have that transaction volume. You're going to have the actual volume itself and so on and so forth. So it is super important.
Yeah.
And for anybody listening in the audience, if you've got ideas, if you are a software developer or you do coding or anything like that, do not be afraid to put yourself forward, make yourself known in the suggestions, contact one of the admins, contact one of the mods, contact someone that's a speaker now, and just put it forward, and we'll be sure to always get it to the correct people. Because at the end of the day, what a lot of people need to understand as well is, if you look at Shiba Inu is a community coin given by Ryoshi to the community as a project, to see how the community reacts, to see what they do with it, to see what they're able to bring forth. Now, a group of developers have brought a huge ecosystem to a coin with 447 trillion coins. Okay, if they can bring value to 447 trillion coins and keep themselves at 15 in the charts, think about what the Lunatic Army is capable of. Think about what Terra Rebels is capable of. It's all just time, folks.
Imagine how high it would be on the charts if
Do
they
you
were actually
step up
bringing
the
some
station?
value to
You
Shiba
got
Inu.
anything to share?
Yeah, I have. I hope the background noise not bad.
No, it's fine.
I think. Oh, sorry. Now the cars come in.
But I
I think one of
digress.
the key things to get this done, to actually, to actually get the creativity and the info that's coming from the community, to encourage people to just share their thoughts on that, and bringing it into some usable form. I think it would be pretty helpful to implement some structured ways, some processes, just to collect this input. So I think as soon as we got like defined ways to go again and again, they are working and they can be improved. I think we're good to go, and we should better be slow or patient on working this out, rather than implementing them pretty fast and a lot of them and reworking them all over.
Yeah.
I hope I was able to outline it.
No, I think you're right, and you're clear. I've been a vocal advocate for trying to build slow and steady. The problem is I have super intelligent people like Edward and Resolution and Matthew who seem to solve problems faster than I assume that they can.
That's good.
And now we're at a point where we have almost a working testnet. We actually have a working testnet.
Yeah,
We have a burn tax implementation. Ed and I need to do some thing, but other than that, it's functional and it's working. And before we know it, we will be trying to do new stuff. So from my perspective, I think my personal focus will shift a bit to finishing the Terra operator and getting the SecOps stuff finished. But as soon as that is done, I will basically, and this is sometime not next week, but the week after, commit to basically mapping out all our issues and refining all our backlogs, and I need help to do that. And this is what this meeting is actually for. It's like a call to action saying, anybody who has, financial understanding or technical understanding, like Jacob just pointed out, don't feel like you have to hide in the audience. We don't judge you. We're not going to troll you for being wrong. We just need all the help we can because we're in a situation where the only thing we can control is our scope. But the more people who volunteer, the more people who pitch in, the easier it will be to overcome the resource burden. And then time becomes relative if we can overcome resources and somewhat manage scope. So that is, if people take one thing from this meeting, it's just like, if you truly feel like you can provide something of value, please do so, because that will make the whole community stronger. And in a week from now, we will be doing a lot of efforts towards doing refinement meetings, and we will set up bi-weekly refinement meetings moving forward, where people who have ideas in the suggestion channel can participate, and we will help them try to formulate their idea into an issue we can put on the backlog. And we might not fix it, within the next 3 months, but if it's on the backlog, it means it's in our scope. It's just a matter of resources before we can start working on it.
I was talking the back days about, I was drafting something. I will provide it. Maybe it's of any use.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Rex, do you want to say a few words?
Yeah, mates. I'm very glad also to back up the other with this idea to compile our roadmap. And I want to add that it could be, for instance, done in 2 steps. On the first step, we will gather all the interesting and relevant ideas about their restoration and rehabilitation, and put them on some kind of the text form initially, but with the clear description of each item of this roadmap. And of course, we could do it in several streams, like community stream, chain development stream, for instance, legal stream, and so on. And after this step will be completed, after that we could disperse all this roadmap in the text form for the creation of some kind of the interface or like with the example of Yota website, because this will be actually the representation of our ideas. Yes, and so it's pretty feasible, and I am volunteer to support you with execution of these tasks.
Cool. Anybody else have anything to say?
You have 3 people waiting on the show request right now.
Oh shit, I didn't even notice. Sorry. Like I said, I had a few beers before this meeting, so I had to just find the right place to go and listen.
Zarada's a nut. It's like listening to the Terminator.
Do you want me to bring them up to speak?
No, I'm bringing them in. I'm bringing them in one at a time. It's Viper. You're good to go.
Alright, yeah, first off, happy caddy, been following.
Okay.
I think your sound dropped, mate. I guess he's got a problem with the sound. We'll bring in the next guy and then Viber. Or you were good to go now, mate? Okay, I'll bring in Zach. Are you here? I'm gonna bring you into the stage, then you can talk, mate.
I find it hilarious when the
floor is yours.
development team has technical issues. It's not their fault.
Can you guys hear me?
There it is.
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello?
Awesome. First of all, I wanted to thank everyone for helping actually with the Terra blockchain, given all the limitations and all the issues that we have. And I wanted to possibly ask if has anyone, basically including Happy Cathy and anyone in the Terra Rebels community, tried to contact Do Kwon to see if we can actually officially get any sort of official statement from TFL. The reason why I'm asking this is because I'm not really sure if, once we do this implementation down the road, any of the exchanges, for instance, like Binance or any big exchanges like Crypto.com would actually need some sort of official announcement from
I think it's a valid question. And just to answer very quickly, we created as one of the first things an issue on Terra Money GitHub asking to become maintainers as a core. That issue has not been responded to for 25 days. I have invited one of the South Korean main contributors to the core to our GitHub repo. He's called Paul Han. He's in the repo. I wrote an email to him and Yoon Suk, or whatever his name was, 3 weeks ago. We've not heard anything back from that. I have multiple times in today reached out on the old Terra Discord to say, it's great that some of you guys want to help us with funding, but the best thing you can do is get Jared TFL or somebody like that to talk with us. Because the problem is that we are inherently having to reverse engineer 4 years of combined work And our job, the job that Edward and I do when we're trying to reason about the blockchain, would be infinitely easier if one of those guys would just be available for ad hoc questioning. Because we have to understand how everything works all the way through all the code before we can make a change, because we don't have the old dev team to talk with. So the state is, yes, we've tried all of this. I think for various reasons, like probably legal reasons, a lot of these guys are just staying silent because their lawyers are probably telling them to not do anything.
They're trying to get out of the country.
I really appreciate
they're
your
not
help
letting them
because
get out
this
of
is
the country.
totally understandable from your side, and the fact that you guys need to do this reverse engineering to understand the code, all the subroutines that the code has, and all the other elements of it. So totally understandable. Really wanted to appreciate your help. And yeah, if you could get anyone from the lab or someone from them to acknowledge something, that would have been perfect. But yes, I really appreciate it.
Let me take this chance to make one thing 100% clear for everyone. Terror rebels do not want to do what we're currently doing. We're doing this in the absence of leadership.
That's right.
Not because we want to try to take over anything.
Right.
In the perfect world, I would just be a guy who bought $40,000 worth of Luna tokens at $1 at a wrong point in time, so I had to double down and buy even more. But in the real world, I have to be the guy who fixes the code because the guy who created the problems are not fixing it, right? That's the reality we live in. So we don't want to have to do this, but we're doing it anyways because we are professionals and we have the ability to try to somehow fix the problem that we find ourselves in.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thanks very much again for your time. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we all appreciate it.
Viper, you with us now, mate? Nah, I think Viper's still dead. I'll bring Boston Baller in.
Viper needs a new microphone. He was about to praise Happy Caddy too. It was gonna be good, but
Yes, Boston Baller is now. Here he comes. What's up?
Hey man, how you doing, guys?
Doing good. And
Boston Baller.
Good, good. I just more of a comment, kind of a positive comment. Myself got into this ecosystem and what you guys got going on probably more recently in the last 4 months or so, and people like Happy Caddy and yourself, Raider, Vegas, everybody that's on this Discord and really trying to push this coin to the next level. I guess it's more of a comment versus a question. I've actually kind of answered the question on the last guy. But more of a comment was I think everybody in this group, and there's a lot of smart people working on this. That it's a very confident thing for yourself, everybody that's on here, that there actually is an end game. Everything that you're listening to out there, everybody that the YouTubers, whatever, you guys are it. You know what I mean? So the transparency and the truth from you guys is very well respected. And, I feel like with these kind of meetings and these kind of community discussion, there is no limit, and there is, not any kind of restriction to what we can do as a community. I guess one big question myself, not a developer like you guys, is what am I able to do on my end to help you guys increase what the actual plan is. Like, is there anything that me, the normal guy, can do to help you guys get to the end game, I guess?
Yeah, and first of all, thank you for your comments and your question as well.
Thanks.
I think at the base layer, what we have to realize is that, smart people don't run the world. People run the world, right?
Right.
Yes, sure, Ed and myself, we might be smart at technology, but there's probably other parts in life where we're not super smart. This is a collective effort, and we're just enabling the community to succeed. So you're the guy who has to actually do the work of going out there and convincing the world that the software is something that they should invest their money in once we're done fixing the core problems that we have, right? So it's not really about what you can do for me. It's about what I can do for you. We just find ourselves right now in a situation where there's so much for me to do because I have a life, I have a son, I have a family, I have work. I don't have $5 million worth of initial funding currency from a new blockchain project that allows me to just spend all my time on it.
Right.
So the challenge right now is just one of the best thing you guys can do for us is have patience. Understand that we're working hard and we're trying to be as inclusive as we can. Understand that we're not ignoring you because we don't want to talk with you, but because the cost of a context switch for a developer is 15 minutes, right? That's 15 minutes of lost time that the developer's not coding on the actual problem. And this is why we don't always answer. Dev discussion has more or less become irrelevant because it's become so crowded with all sorts of stuff. And that's just because the techs are tuning out of it because we have to focus. So the best thing you guys can do for us right now is keep being open-minded, be inclusive, resist the urge to get into pointless discussions with other people. It will only harm us long-term, and be patient as we fix the technical problems, and then be ready to take the software that we produce on behalf of the community and bring that out to the world. That's how any blockchain throughout all of blockchain history has become successful. Right? Bitcoin is worth what it's worth because inherently all altcoins are just derivatives of Bitcoin, right? And Bitcoin started with a small group of people who became a bigger group of people and so on and so forth.
If I could just add something to that too,
Really
Zara.
good.
Yeah, go ahead, Manny.
What people need to also understand is this is not something that is a year down the line already, or a couple of months, or even any longer than a month. This event happened last month on the 12th. I'm not too aware as to when exactly Terra Rebels got established, but we are in the beginning of everything that's happening. And like Zara was saying, that you need to be patient, have time, support the proposals if that's something that you want. Keep supporting them and just keep checking back and pretty much looking for that next thing that you need to do. But always just be patient, folks. Okay, all these people are here because they want to be here, not because they're being paid to be here, because they want to fix a problem that was not created by themselves but by TFL, and TFL are absent. So in that absence, these folks are now taking it upon themselves to pretty much put themselves in the firing line. Like, along with everything that they're doing, they put themselves out there for you folks in that firing line. So, like I stated in one of my videos, for everything that goes wrong from, I don't know, about a week ago onwards, the community's always going to look to Terra Rebels now because you get answers from them. You don't get answers from TFL. Thanks, Arda.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Happy. Thanks, Adam. Have a good day, man. Thank you, guys. I'm here to support you guys 100%, and I can't wait for it, brother.
Thank you very
I'll
much.
bring in Akujiro, your next mate.
Hey, can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome, great. First of all, thank you very much for everything you're doing. It's so awesome. How much sense does it make to actually go in person to TFL? Like, to actually go to South Korea? Is it like not that, like, the chances of meeting them actually is not that good or something? I don't know.
It makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
I've worked in a few years ago. I worked with South
We're
Korean
stalking now.
traders. South Korea is
No,
essentially divided
hey,
into
let me in.
4 mainstream trading communities that work together. So you have to basically drill your way into very close communities and convince them to do stuff. The developers themselves will probably not even want to meet with you due to legal concerns and so on. So
Of
as it
course.
stands right now, the best way of having a dialogue with them is through their GitHub organization.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for answering.
No problem. Cool. I'll bring in the next guy. Forlex, you're up.
I don't see him up yet.
I guess he wasn't up. Bikram, your next mate.
These guys sleeping? You're up. Let's go.
Can you hear me?
There you are.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sir, I'm saying that what is the next of the LUNC project, you know?
What
I
the
just
next,
have-
what the next milestone is?
I just have a suggestions for this. Okay. You know, burning is not going to solve the entire problem of LUNC because
Well,
Yeah,
burning will take approximately 100 years to work, so that's correct. It will not solve the problem in itself.
Luna the new Luna has 1 billion supply, but they failed, totally failed.
The vote is out on that. I don't really care too much about all the other things,
But we need to make a stronger community for fundraising.
yes, but first we have to build the community, and we have to show that let me put it like this. I'm not going to ask anybody to invest a single dollar in Luna Classic before I feel that the software is at a stage where I would want to in it. So what we're doing right now is building to that point where we feel comfortable telling our network that they should invest in Terra Classic again. Because right now everybody thinks that nobody should invest in Terra Classic because it's essentially dead. And if we can prove the world wrong and we can fix it, there's a huge value proposition in that. But until that point, and I've stated this before, I don't want anybody to invest in anything. I'm just trying to solve an interesting problem.
Yes, sir. So I just want to say that this burning and the community build-up is both simultaneously is similarly big issues. So entire focus on burning, also little bit focus, we should little bit focus on community build-up.
No, I understand that, but from my point of view, I think those two things go hand in hand. Edward and myself, we've been working on the burn tax not because we feel that we as persons want to implement a burn tax, but because the community has voted to pass a proposal that says that they want a burn tax. So we're doing the burn tax to service the community, and by doing that, we are showing that there's a community worth investing in. Right? Think about it this way. There's no point in joining a community if the community is not going to grow and get to something better. If it just stagnates and dies because nobody is actually fixing the problems, then eventually the community will die. So by doing the burn tax, we are actually growing the community.
Yes, sir. I know that stuff. But my question is if you want a bigger community, then we have to focus on different language, different peoples to claim to join our terror level, from different languages like South Koreans, Japanese, like India.
Oh no, I understand that, but cultural integration takes time. Right now we're just 2,300 people on a Discord channel, and we're not all talking with each other all the time. So I totally agree with you that at some point, if we get an even larger community, we need to focus more on these things. But we just have concrete problems right now, and it's back to the project matrix. We have time, scope, and resources. Now, adding to the scope, servicing a larger community is not beneficial for our short-term goals, because our short-term goals is fixing the problem, and if you can't fix the problem, then there's no community anyways, right? So it's more of a planning thing. But I agree with you that as the community grows, we need to be mindful of this diversity and be inclusive. And this is also why I reacted so strongly, and I'm so happy that you're still in this community, because at one point there was a discussion in the Uduna module channel, and you were in an argument with some people about some whatever language. But the bottom line was that you were just trying to provide value in your own way, and somebody just didn't initially understand you. And if we had pushed you out in that sense because you were like, yeah, I don't want to be here if you don't want me, we would have lost something. So you're totally right. Our strength is in our ability to grow an open, diverse community that embraces change. But we also have to be patient with one another and understand that we come from widely different cultures. I'm Danish. I'm used to a world where everybody tells me if they disagree with me. You're Indian. You're used to not even disagreeing with me if I'm your boss, because that might cost you your job. And between all of that, we need to establish trust bonds and start communicating and grow. And that is a painful transition. But if we are honest with each other and if we're open-minded, I believe that we can grow the community.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Four legs is back, so let him in.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, first of all, it's just like what other people said, nothing but admiration for the work that you guys have done so far, and I really, really appreciate it. So there's that. I guess my question for you is, I know for probably a bunch of the people who have been sort of forced migrated to Luna to or whatever they call themselves now, or Luna, whatever, the Do Kwon chain, and also for some of the people here, that the algo stable was a big part of the conversation, and I guess we feel like that's really the differentiating factor that Terra brought to the crypto universe, and obviously we don't need to have some solution for it in the very near future, but I guess I do feel a little a reluctance by you guys to kind of engage in discussions on that topic. I know you have much more important, much of basic deliverables to deal with before we get there, but is it like a sort of TFL diplomacy thing because you don't want to?
So let me try to answer your question before it becomes too broad. First of all, thank you from the bottom of my heart for just going straight for the question. I'm not big on getting praised for anything, so thank you for that. Secondly, thank you for addressing the elephant in the room. I created a pull request about 3 weeks ago, which contained a partial re-enablement of the swap logic. Because essentially, the only way to fix Terra is to re-enable the swap.
Agreed.
Because the only reason I invested in Terra in the first place was the only feature that made Terra special was the swaps.
Totally.
Everything else you can get anywhere else, right? And I work on a daily basis for a logistic company. I talk on KubeCon about digital twins. I built digital twin prototypes, right? We are going to need software in the business space soon that can have digital currency that can service the metaverse. This is why I believe that the strongest value proposition that Terra has in any form is the stable Quant connection. And I think if people actually dig through the social media noise, they will see that Do Kwon has multiple times now mentioned that they will probably build a stable coin on V2 as well.
Yeah.
Because V2 is not about not building a stablecoin. It's just about doing an easy reset because that is easier than fixing whatever mess they left behind.
Totally.
But for me, that sort of butts headfirst into the concept of immutability. Blockchain needs to be immutable, otherwise you don't have trust. And then you need to build trust bonds, and then it becomes inefficient. So this is why we are all, I think, in this meeting probably both V1 and V2 holders, because most of us vestings coming out in the next few vesting cycles. But for me, V2 is a business chain that is centralized, that is operated by Terra, TFL, and whatever, and that's probably going to have a nice future with some businesses. But Terra Classic is the community chain. That is the open market, fair value, free market economics chain that is now owned by the community. And that is where I think it's interesting to place my value at the end of the day.
So, do you think it makes sense to have to establish sort of maybe a maker style algo stable core unit or something to sort of have some kind of specialized expertise, sort of start drawing up what a basically a more sustainable, somewhat under collateralized algo stable implementation would look like? Again, not to arrive at any conclusions in the next 24 hours, but at least to start kicking the tires.
We've already had significant talks with various parties on this subject, because for me, this is the interesting problem to solve. And we've recruited Quant with 15 years of derivatives experience and some other cool guys to help us. But to sort of summarize, I think that once we're done with the burn tax and the staking and delegation, the next big delivery will be the next algorithm. I inherently believe that from a pure distributed systems architecture perspective, stablecoins still will never work. You cannot have a real-time peg coin across the distributed system. It violates all the basics of the CAP theorem. What we can have is an eventually consistent algorithmic coin, meaning that if people stop selling, it will start buying at some point. And if you create a clever enough algorithm, it will buy whenever the market is financially inducive to do so. And that will essentially capitalize the algorithm like any other capital system and allow it to defend the peg over time. So think of it this way. Every time we have a bank run, let's say the peg is at 25 cents. The protocol starts buying at 5 cents once the bank run sort of subsides, and slowly starts buying it back up to 25 cents. Over time, when these things happen, the protocol will make money, the treasury module will make money from that, and it can use that money to basically support the peg and make it more and more stable. But having a real-time fixed at 25 cents or $1 or whatever across a distributed system, that was never going to work. And I think we've seen sufficient proof across sufficient stablecoins by now to sort of underline that fact.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll get off the stage, but great work. And let me know. I work in blockchain full time. I'd love to know, how else I can help, and especially the algo stable side of things, because I'm not a core dev. Thanks a lot.
But start out by getting a dev tag if you haven't already gotten it. You can just talk with Clan Modhorn and have him give you a dev tag, because then you can get into the closed channels and then just about participating in the conversation going on.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we have a lot of people on stage. Anybody else feel like saying anything?
Hello, guys. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead, Nuno.
How are you today? Nice to be here. Feeling a little better, thank you.
Great, mate.
It's great to have our large community here. Everyone's listening.
This is Legafar. If you guys are in the Discord,
I'm a very talkative person.
quite
I engage a
often.
lot with discussions. I try to be a little bit more coherent. So at this moment, completing the message that was passed, it's necessary that the community at large, we are all a bunch of people that in the end we can do our own stuff. I myself, I am not a technician. I would never be a coder or something, but I am a practical person. I live in the legacy world. I do some tech. You know, guys, that I will be doing the node. I will be going with the node. I will be taking as much as delegators for the community. If this is not sponsorship for the efforts I am doing, but I'm telling that the node that I will be doing, it's going to be pro bono. All the rewards I will get for the node, this will be of course published, will be for either as the community decides, either for Burn, either for other projects, either for funding projects and all that.
Wow.
Meaning that I'm taking the spearheading this effort.
That's amazing.
And I'm sure that others might do the same. And most of our work is, as many knows, is non-profit.
Yep.
And we are here as a community. Of course, let's not be hypocrites, but we all know we have our little bags of coins. One day we hope them go to the moon. But this, most of all, is an enterprise. You cannot come and ask here when it will hit one penny or something like that, because that's not how it works. We must first build something that actually works, that is self-sufficient, self-reliant, and it can live on its own. And it cannot go without people. You need people to collaborate, to operate, and to work. This for me, and I've been even as sick in these last days, I've been trying to understand how to perform a crowdfunding, not really crowdfunding, but a crowdsourcing campaign where anyone that has something to offer can come close, and not just for the terror rebels, because there are other groups as well, and come forward and see what anyone can do, because it's not just about coding, it's not just about marketing, it's about much more. For example, would you explore the feasibility of implementing in your own country, or establishing your own communities in your own languages? It doesn't need to be here. I mean, we live in our worlds, we have our friends, we have our families. Anyone can be part of this, and it doesn't need to be on a Discord channel. Simply as much momentum and speed we can gather from this will work. And we'll pick up as much as people it's like a train. It's starting, it's moving, it's going. So let's go on this together. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, mate.
He's a good dude. He's always in the Discord
Anybody else
chats,
feel like saying something?
answering
we have one
questions,
person that
chatting
got
with
put in
people.
David Go Belt, was added to the chat.
Yeah.
I just had a quick question. Can you hear me okay?
Let's
Yeah,
see how
go
quick.
ahead, mate.
So for the people, the other guy was asking if there was things that non-developers could do, and I had an idea while he was talking about that, and when Zeta was talking, having the time to develop or reverse engineer the code, could you guys create a wallet maybe that we could donate some funds to help facilitate that? You know, hiring an assistant that could, go through code for you or something like that. It was just an off-the-wall idea I had.
Yeah, no, I think I appreciate the idea, and I think where I understand where you're coming from. One of the reasons why we've been reluctant to ask for any type of funding yet is because Dowlex, our legal advisor, has instructed us that it's best that we wait until we have the DAO in place, because there's a lot of legal ramifications with having a single entity in this group accept the finances for the group as a whole. So at some point, once the
They have to
DAO is in
wait
place,
until
we
they
will
have
publish
the whole
a
legal
donation
system
button where people can
in
contribute.
place. before they
Thank you,
start
guys.
accepting
Oh, great, thank you.
any donations or it's logical. That makes sense.
Cool.
That way, there's no questions of where anything went.
Tobias, I can jump in for 1 second.
Yeah, go ahead, mate.
So first of all, thanks to Zardar. I think oftentimes we're not seeing a lot of what's going on behind the scenes, and Zardar is sort of he's got his fingers in everything, and so thanks for that. I think there's been I'm not sure if it's like misinformation, but I think a lot of us on the development team, when we put some updates out, it's not necessarily polished or announcement ready, and so I would just like to keep that in mind for the community that these are
Why do I feel like I'm being spoken
baby
to
steps
directly?
that we're taking, and may not necessarily be ready for sort of the public sphere. But yeah, we're trying to be as open as possible, and in terms of like for other people, if they want to contribute. One second. I think we do have a working testnet up and running, and if you're interested in contributing your CPU or your server to jump in as a validator, that would be great. I think Resolvence here is going to help with onboarding some new people into the testnet. So, thanks.
Yeah, going off of that, if there's anybody who would like to help with the testnet or do validating, message me or at me, and I will help get you set up with that.
I wish I had the time to be all over it.
And then thank you to both of you guys for the work you've done in the testnet. And just to build on what Edward he said, I think it's important to understand that we want to have a methodical, diligent software development process. Think of us like the way Cardano wants to do stuff, right? And we all know that one of its screenshots from the development channel got leaked on social media the other day, and now everybody's like, yeah, the Perm tax is ready. But the fact of the matter is that we still need to do a lot of integration testing, right? And this is why we will let you know when it's ready. And sure, it's fine to leak stuff once in a while just to create hope and all that stuff. But we have to be methodical and we have to work slowly, because at the end of the day, we're working with your money. And we're working in a code base that we didn't build. So it's basically like trying to navigate a minefield. And that means that if we're not diligent, everything will blow up. And that means the process will just be slow. So, but yeah. Anyways, I guess, do we have anybody else in the audience? The audience sheet right now. I guess that's that then.
There's one more.
Okay. Can you bring him in? I think my view got fucked. Hey, Masal, welcome.
No filter on Saturday.
First of all, I came a little late to the meeting. I was in another meeting, and so I might have missed a little bit before, but I just want to start first of all in really a sincere gratitude to everybody here. Zardar and a bunch of the names I'm interacting with you guys on both Twitter and Discord, and you guys really give a tremendous amount of hope to the community. I mean, I think I speak for everyone, and we don't even know how to appreciate you guys yet, but I'm sure we'll find a way. Thank you very, very much. I know, you kind of just touched on that a minute ago, Zardar, about how, the leaks are a little bit premature, but it's good to also give some of the community hope, and I think that's a really important point that, not to kind of say, yeah, we're here already, but, these kinds of things also just keep the fire going and allow people to know that there's active participation, and we're not there yet, but it's coming. So, yeah, I guess it's a fine balance between telling people things have already been accomplished, but also making sure that, we don't lose the momentum and people start dropping off and not getting excited because they don't see any real progress. This is real progress. The testnet, with the tax burn, that is real progress. Just hard to sometimes put it in the right context for people that are not, really technically inclined. But I guess my question was, the testnet is running, and I'll speak to Resolvents about also trying to get onboarded as far as opening a node and being a part of that. I appreciate the help. I'll reach out to you, but if TFL is not very responsive and the validators are not doing the code, I mean, what in your mind would be, hopefully that won't happen, but what would be that next step if we hit that wall?
The next step would be generating a longer chain. So basically, not really. If you're the longest chain, you're still the original chain. That is the premise of any blockchain, right? Every 15 minutes, Bitcoin votes, and the longest chain is Bitcoin. So if you think about these long-range attacks and all of these theoretical vectors that people are discussing, what they're really about is just being able to do a double spend by overtaking the main network with a bigger network that has a different version of the truth. So essentially, you can also use that type of attack vector to take over the Terra network because the amount of validators currently running the network is so small. So if all of the community decided to join Rebel 1 and we voted to make Rebel 1 the new mainnet, then that would become the current chain. We just needed to integrate it with the Columbus 5 chain, obviously, to make sure balances were correct and so on.
So that is a possibility, even though right now new validators and staking and all that is blocked?
That would be a possibility, but that would be the nuclear option. Because what would happen with the remaining validators is that they would become Bitcoin Diamond or Bitcoin Gold or something like that, right?
Bitcoin Cash, right? So, yeah, I think that's amazing because there is hope, even if TFL is not responsive or the validators are not responsive to working. If there is a nuclear option or just a way out of this quagmire, that's amazing. I mean, that's gives me a lot of hope. And I guess finally, I mean, the community, a lot of us in these Telegram groups, we want to know how we can help. I mean, should we be still reaching out to validators and asking them to support the code or get on the testnet? Like, what can we do to be helping you in the meantime?
I think definitely, as Ed mentioned, get people on the testnet. The more people we can get on the testnet, the better. And that will allow the validators to come in and test the new client and get some sort of, shall we say, confidence in the software. And that will then encourage them to upgrade. And then once we are ready with the release version of version 21 of the classic binary, then there's also the whole, just shouting it out on Twitter and letting all of the validators know, sending them all an email saying, hey guys, you need to update because so-and-so. So there will be, a word of mouth thing that has to take place, but we just need to wait for Resolvents and Ed and myself and Matthew to finalize the testing because we don't want to, think about it this way, we're a new development team. We don't want to fuck up our own resumes by producing something that just makes everything worse, right? So you just have to be patient and wait for us to get to a point where we feel professionally confident staking, my 24 years of reputation and Edward's professor degree and Resolvent's future as the best developer ever, on something, because we've put ourselves out there, as HCC said, we've made ourselves very public. So if all of this goes to shit, we would probably carry the brunt of the backlash, because most people in here can just hide behind their public avatars, right? So again,
yep, that's a good point.
We want to fix this problem
How
because
was
we
the
feel it's an
motivator?
interesting problem, but we want to fix it the right way and we don't want to rush it.
Thank you for letting me speak, and again, thanks, guys. I mean, you guys have been absolutely amazing, and I think you have complete confidence in LUNC Nation, and we're really all rooting for you and do anything we can do to help. Thanks.
Cool. Thanks.
And maybe can I just add one thing? I think as Ardar said, we're not quite ready for this to be blasted out and have everyone sort of join. I think we still want to have a little bit control over the testnet before we formally invite existing validators on, just so we can make sure that everything's going very smoothly before that point. So I think we'll probably make some sort of official announcement on when we want the general public here. Otherwise, if you're interested, please contact Resolvents and he can get you in. Thanks.
Yeah, very, very good point. Okay, well, I think we can conclude this meeting then, because I have a very hungry teenager who I need to feed, and it's late. So thank you all for coming. Again, if you want to participate in the roadmap work, which will probably start up sometime at the mid of next month, please PM me and get an ops tag, and then you can come in on the next refinement meeting and start pitching in. So I hope you all have a great evening or day or morning, wherever you are, and I guess I'll see you next time.
Okay, well, so this was an impromptu live stream. I didn't expect there to be a big audience because it's not like I really announced it. But basically I wanted to record it because not everyone, I guess, is on their Terror Rebel Discord and maybe didn't have access to listening to this. So I hope that you could hear it. I won't really know until I play it back. I try to keep the volume up. So a few things to take away. When they start getting into a lot of this technical stuff, it's like my eyes glaze over because it's just not my field, you know. So I'm sure it means something to some of you out there, and they seem excited about the questions they're asking and the answers they're getting. So I'm just going to take that as a good thing. But some of the things to take away from this meeting, and I think it was a good meeting. Patience. And that's me, as well as everybody else out there. At times, I feel like I was being spoken to directly, because there were situations where I was asking some questions and maybe not feeling I was getting the clarification that I needed, even though I probably was. Maybe I didn't understand it. I don't know, but it gets frustrating, I guess, for them, because they're dealing with a lot of stuff. Okay. And trying to fold us in and explain to us step by step, especially those of us who aren't in this field and don't really understand the lingo, I can see where it would be frustrating. I genuinely do, and I genuinely appreciate everything that everyone attempts to do as far as being upfront with us. And I hope that continues. There's a feeling that might not necessarily continue all the time. And maybe it's just because for time constraints, and we'll just have to deal with that. But I have no doubt in my mind that these guys are on top of what they're on top of, and they really mean to do everything that they say they're trying to do for the reasons they say they're trying to do it. I believe that they are our best hope for the restoration of classic Luna. And if we can get there, they're going to get us there. I really do believe that. Even though I get aggravated, sometimes they get aggravated with me. That's okay. We keep each other on our toes. That's fine. So, yeah, patience is one of the things. The other thing is this 1.2% burn tax. Everybody's very excited about it. I'm happy about it. It's a big step, okay? And it's going to, we know that we need to reduce the supply, okay? That's a definite. But that's only like one tine in the fork, and this is something that I don't think everybody understands. And to be honest with you, I might not even have really got that, okay? You hear that we're going to burn it. Here's the thing. You can burn it down, and we're trying to get to, 10 billion as opposed to 6.9 trillion that's out there, which is a significant difference. But the price doesn't necessarily just keep going up as the supply comes down. Supply and demand thing, it doesn't always happen that way, because you can reduce the heck out of it But if there's no value to the coin, if in other words, if there's no use case for the coin, if there's no utility, if there are no developers, companies who have come on and are using the coin, right? If there's none of that going on, then there's no value in the coin, all right? It's not going to get to where we want it to get without having all these pieces in line. These guys are on top of it. They understand that better than anyone. And so they're running in a million different directions trying to get these things all online. And you're kind of limited because, as I understand it, you don't really... First off, like Zarada said, he can't even recommend that anybody go and invest yet. And that's not saying that he's telling anybody not to invest, but it's saying he's not going to say, this is a strong coin, investable, and it's ready to go, and it's going to do this, and it's going to do... He can't do that yet until everything that they're working out has been worked out, is online, is functioning. There are a lot of hurdles. This is not going to be a quick thing, okay? You got to hang in there. If you're already invested, beautiful. If you're going to get into the play, that's fine. You know, whether you hold it, get rid of it, come back in, that's up to you. Nobody's telling you what to do with your money. But he's being very, very honest about it and saying, I can't recommend that anybody do it right now because we haven't accomplished everything we need to accomplish. And we need to accomplish all these things before we can comfortably say that Luna Classic is back online and we're good, okay? I appreciate that honesty. I really do. It's not necessarily what you want to hear, but I appreciate the honesty. So we have to be patient. The 1.2% tax, even though it's a beautiful thing, is not the only thing that's going to get us there. There are a lot of other things that we need to happen to get us there. Okay. There was something else that I wanted to point out that they mentioned. I don't. Again, impromptu and you know. I was trying to listen, and it's like 90 degrees in this room. But anyway, yeah, so it's they're doing the best that they can right now. I hope that the audio was good and you guys can listen to what happened. This will be up there for everyone to check out. If you have questions, leave them in the comment section. And you know, I'll try to get, I mean, I've got some connections over there, some people I'm chatting with that are pretty good about getting back to me with certain questions, regardless of how rudimentary they may be. So, you know, leave your comments, leave your questions, and, you know, if I can get them answered for you, I will certainly try to do that. What else? I don't want to just click off without thinking of what the other thing was that I wanted to mention. But I just can't think of it. I guess maybe I'll make another video. Anyway, all right. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button if you could. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. I still feel comfortable about these guys. I think everything's on point, moving in the right direction. I appreciate these meetings and letting us know what's going on. Join their Discord if you haven't joined it. They've got a million different rooms where you can ask a million different questions. You don't always get them answered because some things are in development and you can't really answer it yet. But you can see what they're doing while they're having their conversations and kind of follow it. And that's really, really unique, really, because you know, I can't think of another development team out there that does that. Okay, so it's appreciated. All right, I will talk to you guys later. Thank you for watching. Bye bye. Ciao.